What's going on, everybody? KD for the Wealth Wells. This is your weekly market prep for October 9th, the week of, where we discuss key levels, our market moving events, geopolitical news, stocks to watch, earnings. We develop a trade plan. We go over my high level levels, and we talk about how we're going to approach any indicators that are helping us, what the Discord is doing, and give you the roadmap for the week. Are you ready? All right, let's get it. Okay, so our weekly prep for 9/9, let's get right into it. All right, so here's our agenda. We're going to recap last week's action. We're going to talk about what happened, the news, the sentiment. We're going to talk about what we can expect this week, the sentiment, news, levels, the plan. We're going to talk about how others did in the market last week, those who are inside of the Discord, what type of success they're having. We're going to talk about what they're using, the indicators here, and what's the best way to use them, and how you can get your hands on them. And then we're going to talk about free and paid training that you have available to you to improve. All right. So let's first start out by talking about last week's action here. All right. So before we go into our major events, how about we talk about what we did last week in the Discord here? I did a weekly prep, a recap. Here's our profits from last week. We did a nice 60K. Some of you guys did a little bit more, some did a little bit less. Some, if you just took one trade or one contract based on all my call outs, this is the minimum you would have made if you also understood how we trade there. So it was a profitable week. All of our wins, all of our losses, they all go into our journal. We edit and we talk about things that we can cut out, things that we can keep. As far as best practices, making sure we stay on task. All of my trading is live, open for the public to see, and my tracker is here as well. So was a profitable week. Now let's talk about, we'll talk about the levels and where we said we will go, but we ultimately got our move and we simply just traded that. So that was successful. All right. Now we know we're on track. We know we're doing well, but we're coming into some major areas where the markets are going to start to respond. So let's talk about that now. So here's some major data points for the week. PPI final demand, FOMC meeting minutes. We're going to be paying attention to that. Any changes in sentiment, big money Wall Street will be watching for that. Of course, the big data of them all, CPI. Now you should be watching the volume leading up to CPI, as it is of interest to me always. Consumer sentiment and, of course, geopolitical news. We're talking about tensions in the Middle East conflict, and we're going to be watching Israel, the conflict there. In addition, we're going to be seeing how that impacts oil, and I may take some trades. Take some trades in that market, what have you. It's already been, prior to all of this, it's already been projected that oil is peaking out, right? And so this is a interesting catalyst to send it the other way. All right. All right. So here's the breakdown. Of course, today is Columbus Day, banking holiday. All right. The market did move. I did not trade today. I took one trade, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Tuesday, we got no major data events that's coming out that's going to impact overall for geopolitical news or for data-driven news. We got NFIB, Small Business Optimism Index coming out. But beside any type of Fed member speaking, and of course the bill, your bill announcements and inventories and etc., there's no major push for tomorrow. So I'm saying usually when I see this type of setup, I would say that off of my key levels, we're going to get our move. However, we got our move today. So some of you guys will talk about the profits here. I mean, we can talk about it now. Let's get to the, if you were inside the Discord just today alone, then I did not trade. All right, and here's the testimonials. But right here in let's go down to the private channel here. Earlier, I got a nice move here, but before I didn't trade today. I let everyone know, it's taking a day off like every other person that has a life in finance. So if you did trade today, good. If you didn't, no fuss, no foul. In the levels channel, here's my thesis. You can see the time I posted at 9:03. We've been chipping inside of our area of interest all session. A move up to 4341 is likely, but the trigger is when we break out of that area of interest. All right. And so if you come down in here, I just simply took the move out of our area of interest, made a cool 5K. Some of you guys 20-point move there. Some of you guys got an even larger move there. I saw some guys getting some 300 percenters there. So pretty stoked about that. Happy about that. So you did a good job. All right. So that's what happened today. Didn't really trade much. So tomorrow I will be looking to see, and we'll discuss that, how we came out of our area of interest. So Wednesday, we've got the PPI final print, FOMC meeting minutes. And Thursday, CPI early. So watch that volume on Wednesday going up into on Tuesday and Wednesday, matter of fact, going up into Thursday. Okay, watch the volume. So this is a prime area for the market to be pinned, especially with the conflict, geopolitical news, especially with what bonds are doing right now. All right. And also with CPI coming up. Okay. So, when the bond market is closed, just keep in mind that equity markets are on their own. Right. And they're absent a major, component to investing, to hedging and the like. So when that component is not trading, then you can get these pops and run-ups, but you shouldn't use that as evidence that we're going to run for the week, because the full strength of actual leverage, of actual trading is not there. All right. So we're going to be paying attention to bonds. We'll talk about that later. All right. Friday, we end the week with consumer sentiment. All right. So these are the folks that's bumping their gums this week. And we got a busy week. It looks like everybody wants to talk. I won't read all of this off, but just know that during market hours, when the Feds are on the mic, we're going to be looking at their sentiment. In each speech, you want to look at their sentiment and how it lays in relation to FOMC minutes and geopolitical news, right? Also with CPI and consumer sentiment and jobless claims coming out, that all of that week over week number, all of that is going to play into some things, right? And then, of course, we do have some bond auctions going on Thursday, but we'll get into that in the private channel. Okay, so here's what to watch for. Earnings season will kick off this week with reports from big banks and financial institutions, including JP, Chase, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, BlackRock, PNC Financial, PepsiCo, Delta Airlines, Walgreens. We've got United, all the big, well, not all, but a considerable amount of the big boys. Okay. We'll get the latest inflation reports with updates on producer and consumer prices on Wednesday and Thursday, respectively. Also on Wednesday, the Feds will release meeting minutes from its latest FOMC meeting. And then last, Amazon will hold its 2-day Prime Big Deals Days. That's an exciting event starting Tuesday, in which Prime members can take advantage of deals and discounts on popular brands and products. Now, that's a big deal, because obviously, interest will be there, sales will be there, and you could see a nice little move in the days and weeks, certainly trailing all the way into the holiday season for Amazon. So these are nice catalysts like Prime Day and then Prime Big Deal Days. Companies are pessimistic overall about earnings. Of 116 S&P companies issuing earnings guidance, 74 have put out a negative guidance, while 42 have issued positive outlooks, according to the research from FactSet. Now, 116, the number of companies issuing guidance, is the highest since FactSet began tracking this metric in 2006, surpassing the previous record of 113 last quarter. The latest CPI will follow on Thursday. Consumer prices are projected to have risen 0.4 last month and 3.7 from a year ago. The Fed Bank of Cleveland forecast core prices will exclude, of course, as we know, volatile food and energy costs, also are likely to go up 0.4 from August and 4.2 year over year. Now, that would mark the smallest annual increase since September 2021. So how do you think JP feels about that? I'll tell you how I feel about it. I couldn't care less about what the sentiment is. I trade based on 3 factors in the market. And I'm telling you, here's my thoughts. Volatility and volume will return after CPI. Coupled with earnings, this should be a big week if you trade level to level, baby. All right. Here is your lovely earnings date and calendar provided by our good friends at Earnings Whispers. Okay, so you can see some nice prints that's coming out. PepsiCo, we got that. Delta, we got that. Domino's, we got that. Citi, PNC, BlackRock, Wells Fargo, all those big banks in the backside of the week. And then going into next week, we got some more big boys. Of course, I love this time of year. I mean, it's just a lot of profits that can be made, and it just never gets old. Okay, so let's talk about just three that I've spotlighted to watch. All right. Now, this isn't a signal to buy. This is me telling you that I believe that there's going to be some action here, so that you understand what to watch and what to look for. Now, of course, we got some big boys reporting. So when I post these earnings spotlights, the intention is for you to take a look at the setup there, and if you see it based on training, hey, you got no excuse but to take that trade. All right, so let's take a look at Pepsi. Now, Pepsi's going to report third quarter earnings ahead of Tuesday's open. Analysts on average expect the soft drink and snack maker to report $2.15 per share, up 9.1 year over year. Wall Street rates Pepsi at a buy and a hold. Now, these results show, the analysts have reported that these results will show how PepsiCo handling the pressure of rising input costs. The company has raised its full-year revenue guidance twice this year, signaling management's confidence it can keep feeding through price hikes to customers. Now, while seeing little drop-off in volumes, credit to Pepsi's laser-like focus on brand quality in recent years, analyst adds. Over at Deutsche Bank, analyst says investors have turned neutral to cautious on PepsiCo after the company's back-to-back guidance hiked. So while one analyst in one area says they think that that's favorable, another is cautious. Now, concerns are growing on volume recovery, potential price cuts, promotional spending, and a long-term impact on weight loss drugs like Ozempic. So still, the analysts are targeting above average third quarter earnings of $2.17 per share. Now, here's something notable, though. Over the last 2 years, Pepsi has beaten EPS estimates 100% of the time and has beaten revenue estimates 100% of the time. So I like the setup there. I'll be watching Pepsi. Delta Airlines flying high on the price charts to start the quarter, with shares up nearly 45% year over year, or year to date, rather, in early July. More recently, the stock has come back down to earth and is now just 11% from the start of 2023. Off the price charts, analysts sees unique tailwinds for Delta versus legacy peers and believe the strong margins, balanced capital deployment, and structural advantages should drive lower earnings volatility and appeal to a broad set of investors. As for the airline's third quarter earnings report, it's going to come out Thursday, ahead of the open. Analysts are forecasting a per share profit of $1.95. Not too bad on Delta. All right. And Wells Fargo. I have to mention Wells Fargo. A busy stretch of bank earnings starts Friday. Wells Fargo, among the top big boys, that's going to set the report. So we'll be watching them, their third quarter results ahead of October 13th open. As a group, analysts are expecting Wells Fargo to report $1.21 share on revenue of about $20.2 billion. All right. Now, there is plenty of market participants to consider this earnings season. Now, here's my thoughts. Top of the mind are bank investors. On the bank investors is increasing unrealized losses on AFS available for sale bonds that are seen as thinning the capital cushion. Investors were already laser focused on this factor going into the third quarter earnings seasons, and the move in the yields over the past few days is only likely to add to these concerns. So yields on both the 2-year and the 10-year Treasury bonds ended the third quarter at their highest level in nearly 2 decades and have continued rising into the fourth quarter. So that is of interest to us. So I'll be watching Wells Fargo. I'm really just watching the banking stocks and to get an idea of how the bonds are going to react so that I can get an idea for a setup. But if I see the setup there, I'm going to take it. All right, so let's get to the levels. Let's talk about where we're going, what we're doing. All right, here we are on the futures. And you can clearly see I had my area of interest there. Now, the two beautiful indicators I have on my screen is the VVP indicator. It gives me my entries, exits, levels, all that cool stuff. It's KD in a box. And the volume profile by the Wealth Wells. Level 2 like data that shifts throughout the day. People are having extreme success with both of them. Get yours. I'll put the link attached to the video in the description. But the idea was, and this is exactly what I said earlier. Let me show this to you here so you can understand. I said this in our levels channel. I post our levels here and my thesis. I said a move up to 4.341 is likely, but the trigger is when we break out of the area of interest. So here we are, area of interest. We start to get out, 300% move. Boom. All right. So it's pretty straightforward. Here's 4.341. We took out my second target. Happy about that too. I think, and again, these are the same levels. Now, this is the downside right here, but these are my levels here for the week. I do not expect much unless geopolitical news and earnings can push this thing. I think this is where we land. I think this is where we chip. So to the upside, 4382. I'll even take out the target here, 4,400 in this area. I believe there's liquidity sitting up here. To the downside, 4,341, and maybe the top of our area of interest. Those are my levels. All right. So now let's go ahead and I'll give you the trade plan in a moment. So let's take a look at what our members are saying about us. Now, just last week, man, there are traders in the Discord, and we'll talk about the 100K earners and then the 5-digit earners as well. But people are hitting some incredible milestones. I mean, you really are better than where you should be. And I've said that many times inside the Discord. Those who are trading with me, those who've gotten training, and they acknowledge this, they're actually better than where they should be. And that's a good thing. It means we got something cooking here. All right. Latest testimonial. KD, thanks for flipping the light switch. Most folks in the Killer Wells group know that I've been through all the core trainings. Appreciate that, Brad. I can tell. And we've done some one-on-ones, you and I. Then on Sunday, he took the AOI training and had a banger Monday. Now, what he's talking about, before we go, what he's talking about is he's talking about this training right here. It's a KD setup. Now, these three, anything you see where it's a KD setup with this white logo here, you don't have to take my core trainings to get it. You could just grab it. You don't have to be a part of my Discord. Nothing. You actually don't have to be a part of my Discord to take any of my trainings, but it's better than if you are. But these three right here, ultimately, they'll just stack the list here because once a month I release one of my setups. It's like my go-to. It's my cheat code. When I see these, oh man, I'm going to the bank. And so this is what he's talking about. He took this 1-hour digital training. You can get it, view it as many times as you like within a 3-month time frame, and go to the bank with it. So he said, I took the AOI training and had a banger Monday. Monday night, I took the Doji Play training, took the next one after that. So what is he talking about? He's talking about this one right here, the Doji Play, all right? And then he likely took the Hammer Play. And so what he's saying is he basically took my setups to understand how I'm viewing the market after he took the core training to get and develop an edge, all right? He continues, I arrived at just shy of 15K today. Not 15K in my account, 15K today. After a successful morning, and am determined to make that a consistent thing, I wanted to put some other ideas to the test and switch to paper trading. Excellent job. This is exactly what we suggest, exactly what I train. I'm calling what happened, the doji off the area of interest down to the level that there's another area of interest, blah, 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 right? He's making up his own setup, and I love it. I know it's a mouthful, but that's exactly what happened. 1 ES contract, 3 winning trades, $1,300. Could you use that? Could you use an extra $1,300 just in one trade? I think most people could. Unfortunately, it's just paper trading. Working on the third trade, I had an ultimate target of 4251. This had already been typed up by me at 7:30 as part of my pre-market prep. This is what I'm talking about. He's taking the training. He understands what I do. He does it exactly as I told him to do. And he's adding his own flair, making the system his own, having extreme success. There were elements of every single training in KD's stack, plus the new setups training. Man, can't wait for tomorrow. Next level stuff. Man, Brad, we're proud of you. Keep it up. You're going to have ups and downs, but you don't have to blow up your account. You don't have to lose. You can actually earn as you learn, and you can get to the top. All right. So what are we using? We're using something called the VVP indicator. The benefits, the levels, the signals, the area of interest is just a better way to trade. And we are using the Wealth Wells volume profile. Let's look at it now so you can get an idea. And actually, we can look at it live in action. All right. So right now, as these levels here, all these little levels, all this shaded area, these are areas of interest. This is an area of interest. All these dotted levels, the different colors there. These are specific levels based on the script that I have running in the background. And let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you a little secret right here. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this. You're probably saying to yourself, well, Katie, how did you know we were going to get a run up, this morning, right? You posted that thing right here. How'd you know we're going to get a run up all the way up and then out? How'd you know that? You see that buy pressure right there? See that buy volume right there? See my level right there? See my area of interest down here? Once I see all that align, coupled with the things trained in this training right here, volume levels and reading the tape, advanced strategies, once I see that, I am telling you right now, folks, it is just a matter of time before this thing kicks in, this area of interest that's sitting right here triggers, and we go to the bank. Many of you guys seen that play many times. I teach how to read the market and how to understand how, to when to get into your trades. And that's how I knew what we were going to get. Actually, before 9 o'clock, I was already trading. But as we start to move through my levels and I wait for that area of interest inside of my area of interest, oh my goodness, baby, we've got gold. Couple that with the volume profile, not like others, but mine, where it shifts throughout the day. I've done many videos where you can see the volume shifting. In fact, the video I'm going to show you at the end is one such video. All right. So what do you have available to you that's free for all you toe tappers and you folks that, just want to test? That's no problem. I have 2 videos you should watch on YouTube. The first is This Community Creates $100,000 Earners. This is a true statement. We are doing it, and we are doing it in nice numbers and consistent. All right. This is a live trading session. It's 1 hour. You can see me hold through a trade. You can see me set my targets. It's available there for thousands to see. All of those in the private channel traded live with me in a private Zoom. Excellent education in here, okay? Then I can see the future. How am I able to predict targets? What am I doing? Watch it. Free game. Skill and mental development is in our sister channel, our podcast channel, where you can get the mental development that you need to improve your reaction times, your patience, and your consistency. So let's talk about the trade plan now. What am I going to be looking for? All right. So the idea is if I wake up and I see, in overnight session, and I see a break of 4365 heading on down here, I'm going to be trading these levels, but I'm going to be risk off up to CPI, 2 to 4 trades low. Once CPI prints, then in the killer whales, I'll put the levels out that morning. Especially, I'd love for us to return to this area here. I'd love for us to trade around this area right here and to just kind of hit this sell pressure and to hold at 4341. We do that. I'm just going to be trading level to level from here, from this 4358 area on down to this 4337. But my specialty this week is to really pay attention when the market opens tomorrow and the bond market, everything returns, and I look at geopolitical news, then I am going to be watching to see how things, kind of work itself out. Now, I'm going to say this. The market hasn't really reacted to the geopolitical headline. It's still trying to digest what's happening in the Middle East. All right. It's relatively muted. It's not clear how Israel will react to the possible different connections there and whatever. Right now, Wall Street has some thoughts on that, but nobody knows. And for the most part, we're watching and we're trying to get an idea of its impact on oil. That's from a financial standpoint. Of course, folks, there's lives involved. There's casualties. So keep in mind, I want you to be really realistic. When you see geopolitical news, do you think, oh man, I can make a lot of money? Oh, the market is going to dump. Is that the first thing you think about? Or do you actually think about people's lives? Like, people are impacted by this stuff. People have lost a mother, a father. So I'm not going to go on a whole tangent here, but this is one of the reasons why I take the days off, and you should take days off too, guys. The money will be there. It is no doubt. I know how to trade. You know how to trade. I'm training you on that. But guys, be pragmatic about this. Show some concern and empathy, and for a moment, you can step away and just realize what's happening in the world. All right, so that's what's going on. Of course, the bond markets were closed today. Okay, so what we're looking at is from volume. We're looking for the volume and volatility to return into the market. Now, for the most part, most of your big boys are short the market right now. All right, they're all showing that for the most part, and just like I stated for some of our earnings report, most of those earnings predict the guidance is negative. It's not positive, right? So so this area specifically right here that we're looking at on the futures, this 4365 area, this maps nicely to 4350 on SPX, and there's a lot of volume sitting up here across the market. So we're going to see when that volume shifts, and if we don't have a good earnings print to get over this, it ain't going to stay up here, period. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at there. So those are my levels, and that's the trade plan. All right. So we talked about the market events. We talked about the levels, the trading plan, what our members are saying. And when I've given you the training, here's the tools you need for trading. We've got 3 tools for you. The Wealth Boss 90-Day Day Trading Journal. Stop using that blank notebook. You don't know what to do, don't know what to track. Let someone guide you. You can get it. Click the link below. How to day trade with a full-time job. I've done it for many years. I've done it successfully. I understand all the challenges. And if we're being honest, most people start with a job and then they transition into day trading, right? Why wouldn't you, right? Nobody is that good where they just jump into day trading right away. So you need to understand the different elements, the challenges, how to overcome them. And I've got 4 setups in this book, 4 that are bangers. They go to the bank like clockwork. They're specific to full-time jobbers. And then just a trading mainstay is the indicators. Get them. They're going to help you go to the next level, period. All right. So I want to thank you for watching, folks. I'll leave you with this quote. Fall in love with the process of becoming great and you'll never be average. If you love the charts, if you love the research, if you love what you do and love trading, it is inevitable you will go to the top. KD for the Wealth Wells, signing out.